In our very first story, Foreign Affairs Minister Hannah Tete Tuesday told Parliament a total of 420,000 Ghana cedis has been disbursed to families of Ghanaians killed in the Gambia in 2005. 45 families in all are said to have benefited from the compensation package, which includes a 10,000 cedis payout and payment of funeral expenses.
To the Foreign Affairs Minister, the 40 Ghanaians were among a group of West African nationals who took off from Senegal by sea on July 22, 2005, Europe-bound, but ended up on the shores of the Gambia. Hannah Tete indicated that contrary to the belief that they were going to be transported to Europe, they found no ship when they arrived at the docks. The victims are suspected to have been murdered by operating president, who suspected they were mercenaries. Hannah Tete said a joint UN-ECOWAS fact-finding team, after its investigations accepted by Ghana and the Gambia, recommended a compensation package totaling $500,000, which was accepted by the Gambia. She said part of the money went into the payment of funeral expenses, while 270,000 cedis went into the payment of compensation for 27 beneficiaries, though 31 were identified. She explained 2 could not be identified, while the other 2 could not be verified.
$500,000 was paid. It was exchanged at a rate of 1.401 Ghana cedis to the dollar, which gave a total amount of 700,500 Ghana cedis. Funeral expenses and compensation was an amount of 420,330 Ghana cedis, involving both the funeral expenses and compensation, was paid out. Of this amount, 270,000 cedis was paid to 27 beneficiaries at 10,000 Ghana cedis each. Provision was made for 31 people, but only 27 people were identified and verified for payment, and that was done on the 10th of December 2010. In the meantime, 2 bodies that were repatriated to Ghana were unidentified, and 2 claims could not be verified, and therefore a total amount of 280,170 Ghana cedis was returned to the government chest.
This, however, opened up the discussion as to the exact number of Ghanaians who were killed in the Gambia. Minority leader Oseichi Mensah-Bonsu says the figure does not support statements made in the past.
Mr. Speaker, now in between the 2 paragraphs, that is A and B, the minister inserted a sentence which is not on the other paper. She said to us that the passengers were subsequently murdered in mysterious circumstances. In other words, the 40. All the passengers. You have said some 40 Ghanaians. So if a question ensues and the member asks what number of Ghanaians were concerned, how can anybody say that it's outside the ambit of the question? Mr. Speaker, that is the gravamen of the matter. That is the gravamen of the matter. The question that is being posed by the member for Subeng relates to the number of Ghanaians killed. As simple as that. And it cannot be outside the confines of the question posed. And he says that whereas the minister says it related to 40 Ghanaians, the current president, in his earlier life, as the ranking member on foreign affairs, insisted that the number was 44. He's talking about reconciliation of the figures. How can the majority leader say that it is outside the ambit of the question?
We're saying in Parliament where the NPP minority has challenged claims by government that the Kufuor administration added nothing to Ghana's electricity generation capacity during its 8 years in office. Addressing a news conference this morning, the minority said the Kufuor administration made interventions in the energy sector which added nearly 1,000 megawatts. They said the current power crisis only demonstrates the NDC government's incompetence in managing the affairs of the country.
To the minority, evidence available defeats comments by government functionaries that the NPP did not add a single megawatt during its regime. Quoting excerpts from the 2009 budget statement presented to Parliament by former Finance Minister Dr. Kwabena Dufour, the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, K.T. Hammond, said government in that statement mentioned key interventions undertaken in the energy sector which resulted in the additional 855 megawatts of power to the installed generating capacity. According to Katie Amon, who is also the MP for Adansi Asokwa, the NPP was responsible for the construction of the Tema Osono plant, which was later renamed Senate Power, the Sunon Asogli Power Plant, and also the retrofitting of 4 turbines of the Akosombo Dam, which increased the installed capacity of the dam from 912 to the current 1,020 megawatts. He told the media the current power crisis as a result of economic mismanagement which has depleted the country's finances, making it difficult for government to raise the needed funds to import crude to power the thermal plants.
The current NDC government took the extraordinary decision to plunge this country into pitch and abysmal darkness in the midst of a substantial installed power generating capacity. The situation has persisted to today as we speak. The 230 megawatts Pong KT1PP plant is yet to be commissioned 6 years after the minister's statement. Because of greed, selfishness, and corruption, the project was discontinued and the turbines were left at the mercy of the elements, thanks to fratricidal warfare at VRA. This negligent reduction of responsibility has added considerably more cost to the original cost outlay.
On a decision to purchase luxury vehicles under the Rural Electrification Project, Katie Amon said the NDC must explain why such vehicles were bought when it was not included in the line of items submitted to Parliament for approval.
The Auditor General issued his constitutionally mandated report on the extension of electricity to some 1,200 communities. The said report was scathing about the purchase of some equipment and vehicles for the project. The contract signed and approved by Parliament made no provision for the purchase of vehicles. Indeed, the first addendum, signed on the 21st of August 2009 by the then Minister of Energy, Dr. Atani Delali, and incorporated into the contract, made no provision for the purchase of vehicles. So how did the vehicles find their way into the contract provisions?
Now, former Energy Minister Dr. Atani Delali, who has been severely criticized for appropriating one of the luxury vehicles meant for inspection of a rural electrification project, says he returned the vehicle on Tuesday after the media vilification. The former minister also confessed in his first interview since the story broke that the vehicles were bought by the NDC regime with money from a contingency fund and their loan agreement with the US Exim Bank. It follows the release of an Auditor General's report last week which revealed that the Energy Ministry had between 2010 and 2012 expended close to $2 million on 38 luxury vehicles and other office equipment which were to be used to monitor and inspect rural electrification projects. Dr. Atani Delali, who was speaking on the Midday News on Joy FM, said the Lexus LX570, which he was using until he returned to the Energy Ministry this morning, was an appropriate reward for his hard work.
Minister, they gave me a Toyota Land Cruiser. Then that Toyota Land Cruiser had an accident. At that time, these cars had also arrived. So I had two decisions, either to let the ministry go and buy me a new car or take one of these new cars. And I decided to take one of these new cars. At the end of my tenure in energy, I was transferred to Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation, MESTI. When I got there, I realized that the financial situation of that ministry is a little bit difficult compared to energy. So I worked out with the people in energy and kept the car so that we don't have to go and spend another money to buy another car for me. Okay. The car was not stolen. It wasn't something that has been hidden anywhere. If you ask those in Messi, when I went there, I never asked them for a car.
Why did you buy luxury vehicles to monitor a rural electrification project?
It was explained to me at the time that the Land Cruiser in US is equivalent to Toyota Lexus, and that Toyota Camry was equivalent to the Chrysler. Once the people, the engineers who were doing this explained that to me, and I knew that we have procured a Toyota Land Cruiser before, I didn't question them, and I didn't see them as luxurious. I saw them as a rugged car that can be used to travel afar, looking at the kind of regions that they were operating in.
Dr. Otinije, if you sorry, but if you look at the cars that we're talking about here, these are Chrysler 300C. This is a salon car. Lexus LX 570 is not just a 4x4; it's a luxury vehicle. So why didn't you question it?
You see, that's what I'm telling you. That it was explained to me that if they were coming from Japan or anyone, and it's equivalent to Toyota Camry, and we had ordered it before. I'm not an expert in cars.
In a related development, it has been alleged the former energy minister has yet another official vehicle in his possession. NPP minority spokesperson on energy, Katie Hammond, who was speaking on Joy FM, insists that former NDC minister is still using a VW Phaeton, which he claims belongs to Gridco. But Dr. Otinije has retorted that anyone who thinks he has done something wrong should go to the court, although he would not confirm if the Gridco vehicle is indeed in his possession. Now, in other news this evening, the state has dropped charges against 6 persons who were accused of being accomplices or aiding. Okay, we'll be bringing you that story in a bit. We're taking a break. Stay tuned. The Attorney General's Department has discontinued the case against 6 persons charged with the offense of aiding and abetting the export of cocaine from Ghana. The 6, including businessman Alhaji Dawood and Foreign Service Officer Abiel Ashite Ama, were arrested and charged with the offense following the arrest of a Ghanaian Austrian lady at Heathrow Airport on November 10 last year with 12.5 kilograms of cocaine from Ghana. Kwachi Afrenuama was in court for Joy News.
State prosecutor Penel Mamata was the first to address the court. She told presiding judge Francis Obri that the Attorney General's Department has filed what we call the nolle prosequi, and in that regard they have decided not to continue with the prosecution of these 6 suspects linked to the Nayeli Ametepe cocaine scandal. Then the judge read extracts of this rather brief statement that he says the court received from the AG's department, signed by the Attorney General herself, and what it said, what's contained in that statement from what Francis Obiri read was that the AG's department, as had been stated earlier by the prosecutor, had decided to discontinue the trial with the intention of dropping all the charges. And as you may know, in some of the instances like this, when the AG decides to file a nolle prosequi, whoever is occupying that portfolio is not required to provide specific reasons why they are dropping the charges. So the judge mentioned against this backdrop that the court will therefore not be able to continue with the trial. So all the charges against them were dropped or have been dropped as we speak. As you can imagine, these 6 suspects were obviously elated, even as the judge was reading out the extracts of the statement from the AG's department. You could see smiles on their faces, excitement on family members who were in court as well, obviously very elated. Immediately the court discharged them. They were careful not to spend another, and immediately the court discharged them. They were careful not to spend another second in court. Immediately, again, they left the premises of the circuit court. There was jubilation outside, especially family members of businessman, Tema-based businessman Alhaji Dawood, jubilating all over. They are Muslims, so they were singing and chanting some Islamic songs, quoting some verses from the Quran, obviously.
Now, businessman Alhaji Dawood, in a statement after his acquittal, expressed gratitude to his family and friends for the support during the period.
Glory be to God. So far, so good. We really thank Almighty Allah for His greatness and for all the people who supported me. And I know the whole Ghana was with me. And I thank God Almighty. I'm a very nice person. Very, very nice person. Everybody knows this, and I thank God. That's what I would say. Yeah.
How has it been over the past few months?
It has been stressful. It has been stressful. Always praying to God. It's only God that can save us, and I believe only God that can save me. And I've prayed to Him, and He has answered me. And I pray all my business people, my partners, my brothers in Ghana, my mothers who supported me. I really thank them so much. I'm very happy that I've done nothing wrong. I help people. This is just coincidence. It's just coincidence. But I thank God Almighty. I thank God. I thank God.
You were saying earlier that after this trial, you'll be more careful in your dealings with people.
I'll be very, very careful. I'll be very, very careful. This say that on your way of do good to people, you might meet them on your way down. But we'll see the kind of people you can help. You know them very well, which I'll tell my brothers and sisters too. And everybody, they should be careful. In any circumstance, anybody they want to help, they should know them very well.
There are some who have talked about.
Meanwhile, head of research at the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center, Dr. Kwesi Enning, says he is disappointed in Ghana's criminal justice system for the inability to prosecute the alleged accomplices of Nayeli and Methofeh. He said the acquittal raises several questions about Ghana's commitment to the fight against narcotics and casts a negative image of Ghana to its foreign partners in the fight against illicit drugs. He spoke to my colleague Aisha Ibrahim.
The Methofeh issue was one that raised a lot of eyebrows. Now we're hearing that the Attorney General has dropped the charges and they're saying they're no longer interested in the matter. Doesn't this raise security issues?
Well, it doesn't raise security issues per se. I think what it raises are questions about Ghana's determination, first and foremost, to fight and resist, the penetration of narcotics and its influences on our lives. Secondly, relates to the perception of our international partners in terms of the dedication and willingness for us to resist the penetration of our society. Now, if you remember, this is not the first high-profile case in which a lot of noise has been made in terms of arrests and possible prosecution, and for which nothing has come out of it. Now, this particular case is very interesting, and I'll come to your security question later on. This particular case is interesting because of the challenges it posed both to our international partners, particularly from the UK, and the robust statement by the British High Commissioner to dissociate the British organizations from having collaborated with the Ghanaian agencies on this particular case. Now, added to that, was that the president then dissolved the board. So there was a lot of interest, both domestically and internationally about the outcome of this particular case. Now, the security question relates not so much to what is going to happen here in Ghana, but it relates to aviation security as a whole, particularly that this is not just about the ability of criminal gangs to infiltrate a very secure part of our airport and to actually get out of that place. I mean, this relates to what could have been in that bag. I mean, it could have been any other thing apart from narcotics. Now, if airport security can be breached so fundamentally, and particularly from the most securest of secure places, then I think it raises questions, yes, about the kinds of things that can enter this country and the kinds of things that can leave this country also.
So are you disappointed?
Now, still staying with the course, Joy News has exclusively obtained the bill of indictment which contains accounts of AIDS broadcaster Kwesi Chedakwa, who is standing trial for allegedly raping a 19-year-old lady in a hotel bathroom. The veteran broadcaster, popularly known as KKD, insists he is innocent of all charges. In a caution statement to the police and dated 28 December 2014, KKD gave a detailed account of what he insists was consensual sex. Joy News reporter Anil Sabote joins us in the studio with some details about the bill of indictment. Anil, first tell us what is in this document.
Okay, so essentially what this particular bill of indictment contains, the the list of witnesses that the prosecution intend calling. It also includes that of the personal statement written by KKD on the 27th when he was arrested that gave detailed accounts of the things that happened. And I must say that, as all of us are aware, this the main witness has declined to, further prosecute the case because she says she's traumatized, she's no more interested because of the things that happened on social media and the kind of pain and difficulties that she went through. So people were even asking questions about whether or not the state is in a position to go ahead and trial because she is the key witness, she's not there. However, when you look at the bill of indictment, for example, in actual fact, they are looking for 5 people that they believe they will call as witnesses. Now the first one, that is Erefi Ollins Thompson, is out. So now he's left them with 4, including a medical doctor and 2 other persons who the state claimed were there at the time, and also the police inspector.
And who are these people?
Good. And we have Abena Konedu Owusu Achan, we have Kofi Che Owusu Achiu, and Dr. M.S. Akabua. Dr. Akabua was the one who performed the examination on the woman at the first. Exactly, on the hospital. And then we have Julius, so who is the investigator. Now, if you look at what the summary of the evidence as we have here, for example, I'm just reading verbatim what is stated here. And it said, we'll say that she's a resident, and that is in respect of PW1, that is the alleged victim, and lives at Cantonments with her parent. That on the 27th December 2014, she accompanied her cousin Abena Konedu Owusu to attend the Runaway fashion show at the African Regent Airport. That when they arrived at the hotel, they met Kofi Che, Abena Konedu, also Achan's brother, who was also one of the organizers of the event. But since the event had not started, she and Abena Konedu, also Achan, decided to go for a walk. Now, this is the interesting bit narrating what the incident is. That after having sex with her against her will, she was bleeding, and the accused, that is KKD, handed her tissue paper to wipe up and told her to sit on a water closet and allow the blood to flow. That accused gave her more tissue to pad up as she washed his penis. That accused promised to give her Postinor to avoid pregnancy. That shortly after, someone knocked on the door and the accused responded and he asked her to be quick. That she tidied up and flushed the blood and stained tissue papers in the water closet and walked out. That when it came out, she informed Abena, that is the sister, that the accused had raped her, that she was crying and told Abena that everything had happened. That Abena called her brother, and after narrating everything to him, they took her to Nyau Medical Center where she was examined. That they then went to the airport police station where she lodged a complaint. So this is what the investigator has documented as coming from the alleged victim. Exactly. Now, then we'll go to the medical report as the doctor actually gave. And this is a doctor who's supposed to be, giving witness. Exactly. That will be called in the course of the cross-examination. And his name is the PW4, that's the prosecution witness 4, and his name is Dr. M.S. Akabua at the police hospital. We'll say that it's a medical officer at the police hospital Accra. That on the 27th December 2014, he examined PW1, that's the victim. That he observed that PW1 was not previously sexually active. That upon in other words, probably like a virgin. A virgin, absolutely. That upon a pelvic examination, he found inter alia that there were abrasions seen on both labia minora, hypermeric redness at the external urethral opening and posterior parts of the vaginal opening, hymen torn at multiple places with pinpointing bleeding areas, and the presence of spermatozoa. That he wrote and endorsed a report on his findings. Now, interestingly, we also have KKD's account, who right from day one maintained that the whole thing is consensual. And I'm just reading an extract of the report. He said, we made love for nearly 11 minutes, after which she sat on a toilet seat and wiped her face with a towel. I watched. So there's a confirmation of the, being on the toilet seat. Precisely. Because it's one of the key things that will be making rounds in the media especially. He said, I washed my face and wiped myself with tissue. Then we both rearranged our clothes. She sat her hair back in place. While she was tidying up her hair, somebody knocked on the unlocked door and said Kofi had rang that the program is about to begin. We came out of the bathroom within a moment of the knock. Effie and I kissed in the living room and left with Ekua and Kofi. We headed for the stairs as we conversed. Effie and Ekua walked me to the entrance of the fashion show. An usher in a branded t-shirt then asked to lead me to my seat. Effie said they were going to help with guests at the entrance as I was led to my seat. I sat through almost 2 hour, 30-minute show and at the end looked to find Effie. On not finding her by the poolside, I walked into the lobby area where some guests had returned to. I sat in a seat where there was a good view of guest movement in the lobby. I sat there with Kofi, Benny, and other guests who were getting drinks. In this case, the Kofi is Kofi Ochridako, who has also been mentioned in the report. For example, interestingly, because according to the bill of indictment, which we skipped, when Abena was giving a testimony, she also talked about the fact that Kofi Ochridako made advances, and on 2 separate occasions wanted to case her, but she rebuffed about it. She didn't accept.
So interesting details coming out of this bill of indictment. We thank you very much for making it available, and thank you very much. You heard it first here on Joy News Prime here on Multi TV. We're taking a break. We'll be back with business. Stay tuned.
Time for business now. My name is Etonam Se, Chair of the National Development Planning Commission Board and former Finance Minister Dr. Kwesi Botwe says government can only cut down on its deficit if investment programs and budgetary allocations are aligned to growth. He says government must also ensure their budgets have stringent value for money checks to run it.
Stability is an important condition for national planning. And we've had the experience of what we call fiscal dominance, with the fiscal problems, as it were, affecting the stability of the macroeconomic environment through the larger than planned budget deficits and through the missing of important targets over the past couple of years or so. So we need to actually make sure that our investment plans, that our capital budgets do make sense. We've suffered from the overhang of a lot of ongoing projects that leave precious little space for new ones. And so you have this overhang that the Minister of Finance now is trying to kind of clear and rationalize. We need to do that, sort out the overhang of the past, and then from here on, make sure that our investment programs and our capital budget are properly aligned with the broad objectives of growth, where we want to see such growth, and also make sure that the projects that get into our capital budget satisfy very stringent value for money checks and are also in the priority areas that we want as a country.
Energy policy analyst John Peter Mewu has expressed concern that the country's poor maintenance culture has resulted in the breaking down of 2 power generating plants. Tico and Taco, speaking in an exclusive interview with Joy News, John Peter Mewu tasked government to immediately make funds available, funds to fix the 2 broken down plants, which could be helpful in addressing the current energy shortfalls.
Reports from authorities of the Ghana Gas Company indicates that the 2 broken down power generating plants are frustrating their efforts to supply the country with an estimated 650 megawatts of power, which could go a long way in solving the power crisis. Energy policy analyst John Peter Amewu contends this problem could have been prevented.
The basic problem we have with the sector have to do with 3 main things. Number 1 has to do with government's its own refusal somewhere last year to advance money for purchase of light crude oil. Number 2 had to do with our security of supply of our gas from Nigeria. Okay, even then the Nigeria gas, which was supposed to be 120, averagely till date, they've delivered about 50%. So what means is that the 50% undelivered had taken off about 200 megawatts of power supply, because Nigeria gas should be able to give us 400 megawatts of power supply. As I speak today, the deficit is about 650. So where is the other 450 coming from? Obviously, it's not as a result of Nigeria gas alone. This can tell you by simple, arithmetic. So that is number 2. Number 3 has to do largely with what we call systematic, lack of culture of maintenance as a country. And these are the 3 main factors that I think had contributed to where we are as a country. Government's indecisions in starting the gas processing plant could be a contributing factor. If we had started that plant earlier on, probably some of the plants might be available now for the gas, to be fired for usage. Unfortunately, there was a delay. Previous government started it, it was curtailed, a new government comes on with its own policy, in the sense that the process had not continuous. If the process had continuous right down from where the previous government had left, we would have finished Atuabo gas long ago.
He added the power crisis facing the country could have improved by now if the excess gas wasting away was put to effective use.
It may minimize when some of these plants on periodic maintenance is brought back. But the difficulty we have as a country is funding. If government advance money today, most of the problem will be solved. I agree with the school of thought of people who think that there's something need to be done within ECG. Okay, ECG as a collector, as a distributor, and as a supplier has so much to be done. Currently, ECG is not giving that signal to the generators that, of course, is financially sound to buy. If you are a producer, you want to sell your commodity, you sell your commodity to somebody who has a very good cash flow. That gives you an indication that the person will be able to pay. Currently, the IPPs are not getting that signal from the ECG because the financial statement is bad, the balance sheet is weak, the cash flow is not a good indicator. So you're not sending that signal. And that is why the IPPs are not coming in.
VRA's power plants can presently take no more than 16 million standard cubic feet of gas per day. This means an estimated 50 million cubic feet of gas go unused. Ghana's total current supply is pegged at 1,650, despite a generation capacity of 2,300 megawatts, which has resulted in a 3-year power crisis, crippling industries and small businesses.
Meanwhile, your favorite fresh dairy products could be going off the market if the power crisis persists, as dealers say the losses they are suffering are becoming unbearable. Joy News' Abigail Adumakwenchi reports dairy dealers are no longer making profits because large stocks tend to go bad.
Most Kenyans prefer to consume dairy and food products fresh and frozen, with Fine Yogo, Fan Ice, Tampico from the Fan Milk family the most heavily patronized. But retailers say they are finding it difficult trading in these products because of the power crisis. Yao Donko treks for long hours daily only for his products to thaw.
We usually wrap the products in sacks to keep them from melting, because when they are melted, we lose as people do not buy.
He says he now takes less than half the 200 pieces he used to buy a day.
I now take 80 because there is no light, and add about 30 pieces sometimes. I lose about 20 pieces, so the power crisis is really a challenge.
The distributors also complain their sales have dropped significantly.
Yeah, a day we normally have guys like 15 sacks of sugar, then 5 sacks of fan choco. But if the light, that's why I say if the product is melt, they can't be able to sell the 15 sack of, that is 1,500. They can't sell the 1,500. They can only sell at least 900, 800. Like to yesterday, they tried their best to sell 800. Because there is light. Yesterday we are having all the light off.
The situation is that bad. Most milk products distributors without generators have gone out of business.
If sometimes the light is general and they have generator, the generator they can't supply everybody. We are too many under them. Okay. So we can go and provide your own generator. If you don't have generator, there's no how you can do it.
The case of Mama Jane, who deals in the wholesale and retail of fresh yogurt, is no different. She's contemplating abandoning the business entirely as she contends her returns have diminished massively.
My profit has dropped from 100 cedis a month to about 20 cedis on the sale of the fresh yogurt. I cannot continue to make losses, so I will stop sales for now till the power situation is better.
Evidently, companies who produce these dairy products are losing huge sums having to take them back from distributors after they go bad. For now, dealers say they can only count their losses with the hope that the crisis will soon be over. Abigail Adumakwenchi for Joy News.
That's it for business. George Ado Jr. standing by with sports. My name is Etonamsi. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, now time for some sports news, and we'll begin with the Paralympic team because Ghana's national Paralympic team returned from the just-ended competition organized by the Disabled Road Race Foundation, supported by South Africa Sports Commission and South African Sports Association for Physically Disabled. Ghana next 4 medals at the event, which featured some top para-athletes in the country. Joy Sports' Baba Tando has more.
Marathon, which was staged in the South African city of George, saw about 300 participants from Tanzania, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Puerto Rico, the United Kingdom, Zimbabwe, Ghana and South Africa participating. Botio Nkegbe, Team Ghana's captain, competed in and won the 42-kilometer full marathon in 1 hour 55 minutes ahead of 19 others. He attributes his success to good preparation.
As we all know, every sport is all difficult, but if you prepare well, the results will tell how prepared you are. So it was okay for us. It's one of the challenges we need to overcome to win that medal. So as we are going, we promise Ghanaians that we are going to bring home medals. None of us will come back empty-handed. We went, we fought, and here we are today, getting the silver out of the 42 kilometers. We ate from the gold, but we couldn't get it. But we were so happy to come back home victorious, having this medal in our neck. We are so proud of ourselves.
All right, now time to talk about the UEFA Champions League. 2 special games ongoing. It's the round of 16 and quite a lot to get in that. There is a replay of the game between Manchester City and Barcelona. And already Barcelona leading by 2-0. Luis Suarez getting goals since he left England. Remember, he left Liverpool to Barcelona, has 2 goals in that as well. Juventus up against Borussia Dortmund. That's a replay of what happened in 2004, going up there also in 97 when Borussia Dortmund managed to win that. Now let's get straight into the action and find out what's happening. So it's just halftime there. We'll start with Juventus and Borussia Dortmund. That's the game currently ongoing. And Juventus lead by 2-1. Carlos Tevez has got a goal in there for him, as well as Alvaro Morata, ensuring that they are by 2-1. Borussia Dortmund have a little work to do in Italy, of course, but that is all about what's happening there in that game. We can talk about Man City up against Barcelona. A lot has gone into this, and big questions about what Man City can really do when there's no Yaya Toure. There's no Yaya Toure, and they're losing. In 7 games, they have just won 1 without Yaya Toure. That's what's happening right now. Luis Suarez has gotten all the 2 goals for Barcelona in there, ensuring that they're picking it pretty much up there. But it's all about the first half. So a lot could change in the second half. We'll find out what happens then, of course, tomorrow. There's quite a lot to talk about. That'll be all for the UEFA Champions League, and we'll be talking about this some more certainly tomorrow. There's more to talk about. That'll be all for sports tonight. I'm George Ado Jr. Israel will join us with some more. You have a good night.
The youth wing of the Convention People's Party has staged what could pass for a mini demonstration to commemorate the overthrow of Ghana's founding president 49 years ago. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had been leader of the independent Ghana for about 9 years when he was deposed by a coup d'etat on February 24, 1966. Today's demonstration by the CPP youth wing was also used to demand the return of party assets which were seized after Dr. Nkrumah's overthrow. Derek Ekosam reports.
The demonstrators, mainly sympathizers of the Convention People's Party, converged at the Obra Sport here in Accra in a protest to pressure government to return, as they put it, assets that were seized from the party after the overthrow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Well, we are here protesting against injustice, the injustice that is being done against the people of Ghana and the Convention People's Party. As we speak, there are citizens in this country whose properties have been confiscated to the state simply because they served in the first CPP administration. As we speak, the Convention People's Party has its own set of problems that, it's confronted with in terms of the cake of injustice. One being the fact that only the CPP is, bastardized in textbooks and vilified. Only the CPP has some of its members punished. Only the CPP has, some of its members denied from contesting any public office according to the 1992 Constitution.
The Deputy Communications Director, Evans Terria, says The party would go as far as the courts to ensure the assets are returned.
So if I heard you right, you mean you head to court after this?
Oh yes.
When should we expect you to head to court?
I can't give timelines, but that's the right thing we're going to do. But we are going to also set protests so that government can listen. If you can listen and just see that part of the constitution is useless and must be repealed.
Some of the child protesters, drawn from the People's School for Positive Education, spoke to Joy News about why they got involved.
I'm here to help my parents who are in the CPP to get access to their properties.
Your parents had their property seized when?
Their properties have been sold by the NDC and the MPP parties. And even recently I heard that they are wanting to sell the Ghana Electricity Company. And all these achievements were led and were produced by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Are you not supposed to be in school today?
Oh no, I can't be in school learning the benefits of colonization. So I have to help my parents to fight for their assets, to change the country, or revolt against the puppet leaders in our country. I'm here to support the CPP to gain back their assets and to fight against hypocrisy in Ghana.
Are you not supposed to be in school?
I'm supposed to be in school,
so
but I'm here to support the CPP because Nkrumah achieved many things for Ghanaians. And if today we, the younger generation, if we don't fight for that thing to stay, we will still bow down in shame.
The involvement of the school children comes at a time the Ministry of Education is contemplating sanctions for head teachers who allowed their pupils to take part in the recent demonstration against the energy crisis. But the principal of the People's School for Positive Education, Sekou Nkrumah, says he is unperturbed.
No, we're not afraid of any kind of punishment because we know that this is the most important education. The most important education for young people is to understand that they should have an educational system that should not denigrate the founder of our country, that calls him a dictator in our social studies books and in our government books. And then the proof of this miseducation is that in our international airport, Kotaka's name, who illegally overthrew Kwame Nkrumah on this day, 24 February 1966.
Derek Ekosam, Obra Sports, Accra.
All right, there are exciting changes coming onto your multi-TV platform over the next few days. One of the key changes is the consolidation of 4 of the channels into one. This will see Senior Freak, Joy TV, Joy Sports, and 4Kids merged into one new channel known as Joy Prime. The head of the new consolidated channel, Nanaya Sapon, joins me in the studio to tell us more about these changes. Nanaya, I am so excited. First of all, about one of the shows that you told me is going to come on Joy Prime, which has to do with Homeland.
Oh my God!
Okay, Homeland is one of my favorite shows. So you have Homeland, and you also tell me that
Suits.
Suits. Okay, so Suits is like the legal drama.
It's a legal drama with this guy who is so, he's so full of himself because, of course, he's confident because he knows.
Okay.
He never loses.
Okay, so these are the kind of shows that it's going to get you really hooked. I'm really excited about Suits. I'm excited about Homeland. But
we have Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking
Bad. I haven't
Bad.
seen that
Downton Abbey.
That one.
And Downton Abbey recently got the highest ratings in television during the Super Bowl.
Okay.
The recent Super Bowl. Now we also have American Horror Stories. Coming up, we have Pablo Escobar. Also coming up is it's about the life of Pablo Escobar, the famous. We have Damages.
Okay, we can talk about all that is coming, but there's a whole lot that's coming.
Big titles.
And I'm really excited about it. But why are we doing this? I know that in the past people have complained about the fact that we're repeating some of the movies for too long. Is that the reason why?
That is the basic reason.
Okay, cool.
It's one of the greatest reasons why we wanted to do it. Then again, we've been doing television for years. We promised our viewers multiple channels, and we've been given it. Sports Action, are we going to lose? All of them, all those key programs are coming.
Okay, so even though we're shrinking it, we're not going to lose any of the content. But how do we manage to shrink all that into one channel?
That's the beauty of this whole situation, and the brilliance that multi-TV has, that we'll be able to bring you everything and then still even give you more. And I think we want to leave it to the viewers to watch out.
Oh man! Yes, indeed. We're going to. But I can't wait. I still can't wait for Homeland.
Yes.
And Suits.
Yes, and then for all the currently running programs like Red Carpet Show, Premieres, Countdown, Focus Paradise, the chat room on Joy TV, and Carousel on Focus. Every one of these programs are still going to be on Joy Prime.
When is this going to happen?
Test transmission has started already. We started last Wednesday.
Okay.
We've been on air giving people a sneak peek into what's to come. So if you are wowed with what you're saying, then please wait till you see the real thing.
I guess
and the real thing is amazing.
Okay, this is the best time for you to get yourself a multi-TV.
And it's starting 2nd March.
Digibox. 2nd March.
2nd March.
Thank you very, very much for bringing us the wonderful news. Thank you very much, Nanaya Sapon. And that's it for the bulletin. Before we'll quick run through our top stories, the state has dropped charges against 6 persons said to have aided convicted drug courier Nayeli Amethepe to traffic 12.5 kilograms of cocaine to the United Kingdom. Also from the courts, brought you the exclusive blow-by-blow account of the alleged rape incident which landed entertainment icon Kwesi Dakwa in trouble. Minority MPP has challenged claims by government the Kufuor administration failed to add to the country's electricity generation capacity, insisting nearly 1,000 megawatts was added. Former Energy Minister at the heart of the controversial purchase of luxury vehicles with rural electrification funds is breaking his silence on the matter, saying he has returned one of the Lexus 4-wheel drives he still had in his possession after leaving office. That's it for the bulletin. My name is Jozola. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good evening.
This is George.